Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. Upper left hand corner we have NewOcean starting as the yellow Protoss. Bottom left hand corner we have Wizzard starting as the green Zerg. NewOcean going for a 2-gate in game 1, showing some diversity of play, which is really fun. This is on Deja Vu, which I always like pointing out the middle of the map. The cool Metroid cross-S thing. I guess it's anti-Metroid though, because it's got the no through the Metroid. But anyway, Deja Vu, pretty fun map. I do think it is interesting in PvZ in particular, mostly because, well, let's go ahead and go for the map reveal. I like highlighting these maps, honestly, a lot, and I've been doing that particularly a lot in these casts, but I just really do feel like this set of ASL maps has been fantastic. I wonder if they're going to continue, or if they're going to continue with a lot of them, or are they going to continue on this theme, because they've had, even though they've been more 4-player maps, out to Twitch land, by the way, but you can see where Dragoons on the high ground here with High Templar can start punishing things down below. Inversely, soft lurker contains going up these ramp positions after 3 bases have been established can be problems. But usually if you're Zerg, it's like you want to deny that 3rd base. You want to make sure that 3rd base is not available. You can see where this 3rd base with clumps and Psystorms is potentially easier to defend for a Protoss opponent once you get into that 3-base spread. At the same time, once you have your quadrant of the map, because you have to kind of get up into this cliffside area, getting around from quadrant to quadrant and making your way across the map is extremely challenging. Looks like we're seeing another 2-gate opener, by the way. And this time Wizzard isn't going to have an Overlord in position to scout it. Ooh. So this could be dangerous. And this is also with an overpool. I wonder if Wizzard actually is ahead of the meta a little bit and recognizing that when you go overpool here, if you're not going like 11 hatch or 12 pool or something like that, you're a little bit more vulnerable to the 2-gate opener, which I'm told that NewOcean is kind of an old school player, and so it might have the depth of meta to recognize that sort of situation. Looks like the drone gonna water up is gonna see the 2-gate, but I do feel like overpool has a harder time defending against 2-gate than later pools and stronger economic openings and extra larva and whatever not to work with. Although you do want to, I guess 9 pool speed is probably the best. Anyway, ignore me on that comment, honestly, because it's been a minute and these guys know better than I do. So drone starting to sneak its way out. I guess part of it also depends if you're scouted, because if it's a 2-player map, that is absolutely not the case, because the Gazelles can just march in and absolutely wipe out your natural expansion in many of those instances because of the lateness of the spawning pool. So I guess it's all situational. A good amount of Zerglings have been constructed. Initial engagements are huge for this, by the way. If your initial Zerglings can clear out and get good trades against the initial few Zealots, that tends to roll. So getting a good surround to start, absolutely huge. And it looks like the Zergling's going for a pass by. So this time Wizzard, instead of engaging the isolated Zealot and going for an engagement that way, a probe wandering its way out for NewOcean, again going to be quickly wiped out, he's letting the initial 3 Zealots pass and looking, and this is not a great seal. Looks like the Zealot backing its way up. The Zergling's starting to work on the gateways. So, but this is going to leave 3 Zealots, and oh, he's going to try to make up the difference with the Sunken Colony. This is interesting. Is he going to have time is the thing. This is 3 Zealots with only 6 Zerglings to try to defend. And usually you want about 3 or 4 Zerglings per Zealot. I don't think, yeah, that Sunken Colony's taking a good amount of damage where it's not going to finish. Honestly, the Zealots can ignore that Sunken Colony now because they can sneeze on it when it's complete as far as the turnaround. So I do not like Wizzard's engagement here. And it looks like NewOcean recognizing this. So yeah, you can see he just lets it complete. And honestly, it's at that stage, Wizzard would have been better off just canceling it to get the resources. But now we got 5 Zealots, 6 Zealots in. And yeah, not the best engagements here for Wizzard. The Zealot also able to get in the main, so now it's going to force multitasking on multiple fronts as the Zealot's going to get amongst the drones to create some damage, and more Zealots making their way forward. Zealot speed is about to finish, however, which will help a bit. 1 drone down, and it looks like the drone's just evacuating, so Wizzard no longer mining. And NewOcean engaging here at the natural expansion, getting not the best exchanges overall there. It looks like the Zerglings are going to flood. He still has a slight worker lead. Wizzard actually doing a better job. So despite the Zealot able to get in the main, and a lot of the lack might, well, I'm not sure how to call this here, because he's in a better drone situation than he was prior. He's still taking a lot of free damage as he's been walking the Zealots across. The Zealot, he's got Zergling speed making the way across. The Zealot has been able to get an immense amount of kills, 5, and finally taken care of and disrupt, but there's not a lot of drones left. but not a lot of Zealots left either, and this is still free Zerglings. If the Zerglings honestly ignored these Zealots and ran into the main with Zealot leg speed, or with the Zergling leg speed, they could have created a lot of havoc right there. But in the meantime, Wizzard's still producing Zerglings, so NewOcean's still getting a pretty good exchange out of this, where he's continuing producing Zealots, but he's also, again, staying ahead, so be able to execute on the strategy overall, where he's still maintaining the steady economic lead here, which is, yeah, and it looks like Wizzard having trouble to adjusting to it. I don't think he has enough. So he's got a little over a control group. He's got a control group plus 3, so about 15 Zerglings. And again, depending on surface area, you want to have about 3 Zerglings per Zealot. And the more surface area the more Zealots can get kind of in a ball where they're able to attack everywhere on their surface area, and the Zerglings aren't, the better. Looks like Photon Cannon warping in. So I think NewOcean's still ending up in the better position here overall. No mining in the main, interestingly enough. Overlord waiting to be produced. Wizzard with a lot of these Zerglings looking to pick some fights. 2 of these Zealots not engaging, and 1 Zealot actually just, okay, getting a little bit mixed up, but Wizzard's still not getting the better end of that exchange. There's still 6 Zealots remaining. And several of his, the other advantage for Zerglings, I guess, is if you can get into that base damage, the Zerglings do regenerate fully, where the Zealots only regenerate the shields, I suppose. But still, NewOcean in a really, really good situation here. He's got a whole lot of workers to work with. Wizzard has still been producing a lot of Zerglings in the midst of this, looking to breach. A cannon is up, and there's plenty of Zealots to deal with this. And I don't want to say it's like playing into NewOcean's hands, but I'm going to say, yeah, basically playing into NewOcean's hands right here, because this is still 6 Zerglings and just a full Zergling battalion that's going to try to bust this with the cannon in between and continuous Zealot production. Although the Zealot's starting to move out, and Wizzard might be able to get a backstab here with all of his Zerglings and wipe out maybe the cannon and the 2 gateways before the Zealots are able to get back to respond. A Sunken Colony, or Creep Colony getting dropped. We have some more Zerglings on site. Yeah, the Zerglings flooding in. Gonna focus on that cannon. Is NewOcean gonna turn around? No, he's just gonna go for the exchange. So these gateways very likely gonna get wiped out. So now if Wizzard holds, he'll take the game. Sunken Colony morphing, but this is the problem. Can he hold? That's 6 Zealots. He's unpowered. He's bringing the Zerglings back. There's a cannon being morphed at the main. And unfortunately, so Wizzard got a lot of the damage done. He's unpowered the gateways. This probe can just wander up, drop that pylon, however. And the Zealots are holding the high ground and going to get a better end of an exchange up here in the meantime. And now 3 drones left for Wizzard, because he had all of those drones at the natural expansion. So I don't think this is Wizzard. So maybe if he had flooded those Zerglings and gone for a straight up base exchange, this would have been advantage. Spawning pool now getting worked out by NewOcean. The Zerglings making the way back across. A pylon being rebuilt. We do have a cannon in the main, 2 cannons morphing in the main. I don't think this pylon's going to be on time, so this still could turn into an exchange situation. Zerglings occupying these Zealots. Wizzard does have to get it done with the Zerglings he's got on the ground right this second, though. So NewOcean could just, yeah, rebuild the gateways in the main and still get the Stargate up. Yeah, Stargate's almost finished. As soon as the Corsair is there, that should be it. The Zerglings are there. The probes can defend themselves, keep in mind, and drill across the cannon. The cannon has pretty wide spread as far as territory goes. So gets the 2 gateways, but isn't going to get a lot else out of this. And a 3rd gateway to just seal things in. Overlord going to make its way in to see what the cannon situation is. Is he going to be able to see the Corsair? It's the next question. Doesn't see the Corsair in the corner. So working on the gateways, which is something. He's able to get a few more workers in the midst of this. The probe is trying to sneak back in, not going to be able to do so. But now the problem is no gas, no Hydralisk Den, and you got a Corsair that's going to start wandering out on the map killing Overlords. And you got 3 gateways shortly that are going to start producing Zealots to press into this, and you have double the worker count. 1 base versus 1 base, which is 1 base versus 2 base, I should say. But still, it's not enough Zerglings where it's able to make up the difference. And this is going to be, I don't know, Evolution Chamber. The thing is, Wizzard just doesn't have the resources to make this work. Is he going to try to? Yeah, trying to drop an Evolution Chamber to make up for the difference. NewOcean executing really, really well on this. Where's the other Overlord? Overlord's mid-map trying to evacuate. But the thing is, the Corsair's in position now. And we still have Zealots being produced. We're going to be able to make our way up to Templar Archives, which +1 win it, +1 weapons is making its way. It's about halfway finished. And with the Zealots he's got, if he still gonna hunt out, yeah, just with the Zealots he's got, he can basically run over Wizzard because Wizzard's economy is just not going to be sufficient to defend here. And the other thing, the Corsair, let's see, it's trying to hunt out where the Zerglings are, I think, right this second. They're trying to find that additional Overlord. Hydralisk Den finally being built in the main, but even with 9 drones, it's just, you can't even support. This doesn't even, this supports about 2 larvae, I think. Don't quote me on that. I think that supports with 1 on gas and the rest spread, it's like, it's not a lot. He needs more larvae to be able to support Hydralisk production at this pace, and he just isn't going to be able to pace the 3 gateways. And once +1 weapons finished, also if Zealot leg speed is in the midst of this, it's just going to get worse and worse. NewOcean is missing looked like he missed a pylon briefly. Is he just going to grab his natural? He's got all these Zealots streaming out. I think he's just going to wait for +1 weapons and make his way across. A scout being built. This is actually a really good situation to build a scout, by the way, because they attack both air and ground and can basically hit all the areas where yeah, so as you can see, there's no defense here. Still no Hydralisks. So likely either going to interrupt some mining or get some kill. This isn't just a meme right this second. And the Zealots starting to march away across. The Sunken Colony again being built. Another Overlord being killed, I think, by that Corsair on the map. Yeah, it's gotten 2 kills. The rare scout game, but this is appropriate here. Oof. Zealots engaging Zerglings, by the way, with +1 weapons, so getting absolutely crushed right there. The Zealots streaming across, trying to get some decent spread before they're engaging the Zerglings to the south. Looks like a single Hydralisk. Scout taking some damage on the corner. The Zealots making the way in, and now that's going to be game for sure. Because with the Zealots and the Scout, it's just not going to be enough to defend everything at the main, and that is where all the tech is currently residing. So Wizzard certainly should GG at this stage. Yeah, there's the GG. Well played by NewOcean, showing us some old school tactics. And he will advance 2-0 into the 3rd round. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.